Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Inart Batman from The Dark Knight Rises. I would have reviewed this sooner, but some logistical errors kept that from happening, but hey, better late than never, right? So here it is. This is the highly acclaimed Inart Batman. Is it as good as they say it is? Well, I'm going to tell you, it is. It's really good. It is for sure really good, but I wouldn't be a reviewer if I didn't talk about the good and the bad and how it could be improved, and I'm going to do all of that. So let's go ahead and get this guy off the stand and take a closer look. Alright, before we look at the figure, I do want to show you my package. Pretty subtle packaging. It's basically a black box. A few lines on there, what is necessary text, and a bat logo. Not much to look at. So if you're an inbox collector, this one's not for you. This is a secret box. You don't see or know what's inside at all, other than the name. Alright, so I will mention, as I was talking to the Inart people, they said they want to improve and they want my input. And maybe they said that to everybody, I don't know, but I definitely did hear them say that. So I am going to review this as I would anything else. Getting a review sample doesn't keep that from happening. It being an excellent release doesn't mean it doesn't have ways to improve. So I'm going to talk about all of it. So this guy stands to his ears about 6.5, to his head just over 6.25. And that's going to be about, let's just say 16 and 16.6 or so centimeters, roughly. Here he is up against a Marvel Legends Darwin. He's fine. He's good at for 1/12 scale. Maybe slightly big for true 1/12 scale, slightly small for the whatever 1/12 scale people are doing these days. Here he's up against a McFarlane figure. Scaling's not even close, and I'm not going to compare that. People ask me to compare it. I'm not. There's no point. There's really no point in doing that. Okay, so question of the day. How many figures would you like this company to make? For me, it's a lot. As many as they can. So far, I'm very, very pleased with this figure. It is exceptional. But like I said, there is still room for improvement. There are a few things that are really grinding my gears about it, and we're going to talk about all of that kind of stuff. Let's start with the aesthetic, though. It is really, really darn good. I guess the first thing I should start off with, for those of you who are not familiar, because it is a newer company, the standard version of this guy is I think it's like $51 or something like that. I don't know, it's about $50, and then the fancy version with all the stuff that you're going to see here is about $70. I'll put the exact prices on the screen. So still really good value if you ask me, but let's go ahead and jump into the aesthetics. It's very, very, very nicely detailed. This could easily be a much larger figure if you were just looking at that screen. You would not know that it is relatively small, 1/12 scale, loaded with details, a lot of black, but loaded with details. It looks really, really good. Let's get in even tighter. You can see the texturing. It's small, but it is good, and that is what she said. The head sculpt is really nice. Maybe the nose is a little big, but maybe not. It's hard to say. The mouth looks like Christian Bale. The eyes are painted well. Really, truly good-looking figure at this scale. The details are just what they're supposed to be. That's a good thing. The cape they chose to use, it's what I've always said. A little bit of spandex goes a long way at this scale. Spandex looks good at this scale because it has a very tiny, fine weave. So it works really well. It drapes nicely, it looks good, and it's stretchy, so it doesn't get wrinkled very easily. Of course, mine is wrinkled from the packaging to some extent, but not too much. Very nice material for the cape. It also absorbs light well, so it works very well for a Batman cape. Very, very pleased with that. Aesthetically, it is very, very nicely done. And I'm going to just bring in the one accessory head for the deluxe version. I think they're calling it deluxe. For the aesthetic department, for the aesthetic section, that's the best head sculpt I've ever seen at this scale. Head sculpt, paint job. Like, the sculpt's not that hard. You do it digitally, whatever. You shrink it down, that's fine. But getting it to come out this good in the production piece, that's like Hot Toys level paint job and sculpting. That is really, really nice. Like, obviously it's not exactly because it's small, but damn. That is nuts. That's really, really, really freaking good. I am thoroughly impressed by this right here. More than anything else on the figure. The rest of the figure is really good, don't get me wrong, but damn, that's the best way I can put it. That is nice. That is a wonderful head sculpt. Alright, so aesthetically, I'm just gonna go, I'm going to say 9.8, 9.8 out of 10. There's some room for improvement, and part of it I'll talk about in the articulation section. But yeah, it is really, really well done. Now, as far as accessories go, you already saw you have the masked head, you have the unmasked head. For the masked head, you get a total of 3 mouthpieces, so 2 alternate ones. They look very, very good. I'm not sure that they're different enough to make a huge difference, but hey, throw them in. They're not charging a lot for this figure, so hey, any accessories are great by me. For hands, you get a whole spread of hands, everything you could need. That's awesome. You get his 3 guns, his grapnel gun, his EMP, and grenade launcher. I'm having a hard time remembering, even though I just watched the movie the other day. They're all very nicely detailed. And then you get 4 batarangs, 2 of the foldy ones, they don't actually fold, and 2 of the regular ones. And then you get a nice display stand with the acrylic upright. That's great. I mean, like, you really don't need too much more. So accessory-wise, I have one thing that I would like in addition to this. So I would go 9 out of 10. And the other thing would be an alternate cape. And we're going to get to that now because it's time to do the articulation section. And this is really where the company, I think, has some room for improvement, even though it's really good. Don't get me wrong, guys. Really good figure. People love to, as soon as they hear anything that's less than gleaming, is that the word? Anyway, oh, you're a hater. No, it's a review. It's a review. And if you want figures to get better, like they said they do, a true review includes room for improvement. So, the cape. Love the cape. Drape's nice, great material, no wire. No wire, so having this cape is wonderful, but a wired cape would be great, because it's just going to hang, obviously, and so that's a bit annoying. If you're trying to put them in a dynamic pose, or, you know, have the cape up, or do anything, you can't. And then also, with this cape, because of the way they made the pleats permanent in where it connects, which is fine, it looks good like this, you can't droop it over the shoulder super effectively. It's going to be hard to film this. This material just eats up light. Hopefully that's okay. You can't really drape it over the shoulder super effectively. So there's room to add things. Now again, at this price point, I don't expect these things, but these are things that could be included in some way in the future to add value. Either up the price $5, who knows? You know, $5 at this price point isn't going to bother anybody, and if it costs an extra $5 to get an alternate cape or a wired cape, that might be worth it. You know, things for them to consider. Not that they haven't already, but it's my job to talk about it. So yeah, the cape is great, but does lack some utility, being just a droopy cape. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the head articulation. We have some ball pegs. And of course, ball pegs are the way to go. He can look all the way up. He can look all the way down. He leans all the way around. Anybody at this point who doesn't want ball pegs in the neck, they're just lying to themselves or a silly person, because it is the way to go. You have unlimited range in every direction. There's no limitations other than like where the plastic is. Obviously, they can't move through plastic. We're not clipping here. It's not a video game, but he can look all the way up. And all the way down. Like, that's just the way to do it. And then, unfortunately, though, this one doesn't have that. This one is just the ball peg at the bottom. But that's okay. Still really, really nice. Alright, now for the shoulder pads, these guys are on a double hinge to get it out of the way, to move around. And then the shoulders are on a butterfly. Now, it's a very simple butterfly. It doesn't offer a ton. It goes back some. I mean, it's nice to have it, but it doesn't offer a ton. And, unfortunately, you can see right here where all these little like wiry bits are. That's part of the main torso. So that butterfly being the way it is, you are still not bringing that arm across anywhere. Like, it comes forward fine, but it is limited there. So a little bit of tweaking would have given him a lot more range, and I don't know if it would have been super noticeable if they had a little bit less material there. A little bit more range would have gone a long way on this guy. His shoulder doesn't have a ton of extra range, which, you guys know I'm not the hugest fan of butterfly joints in the first place, but still, it does have a butterfly joint that's reasonably useful, but not great. Bringing the arm up works just fine. You can either put the shoulder pads on top of the cape or under the cape. That's up to you. I don't know. I imagine it was under the cape in the movie. You're gonna have to fight with it a little bit to get the arms up better than horizontal. That's pretty much where they're going right there, but that's horizontal, so that's fine. Full rotation, that's fine. Bicep swivel is nice. I love the way they designed the bicep swivel. It's underneath this piece, so when you rotate it, like, you don't even see the swivel. It's pretty good. I like that. And then, of course, you can close that back up. So that's good. Double jointed elbow, standard double jointed elbow. A little bit of glue showing through on mine, but good range. Really good range. Looks good. No real problems there. That's nice. Ball hinge wrists. Standard ball hinge wrists. Nothing worth really getting into there. They work as much as they can without being real gappy, so I like that. For the torso, not the most amount of range, but we have a few different segments. 1, 2, 3, I think it's 3, not counting this very low one, which I guess you could count it underneath the belt, that's 4. His range is not the most, which is fine because this is, you know, a real person version of Batman, not a comic book. But he doesn't have the most range forward or back. And obviously more range is more better for an action figure, but going to the side, again, it's there, but not a ton. And then, of course, your rotation is going to use all of those parts. And the rotation's nice, especially with the extra segments. It looks a little bit more natural than having one big split, so that's pretty cool. Now, this is the thing. All those other things are just little things. It's like I noticed them, and, you know, maybe they could be worked on or something like that as they continue to make new figures. But this is the thing that I think absolutely needs to be rethought. The belt is a floating belt, but there's no torso underneath it. Let me see if I can show you this. Get this up here. There's no torso. He's just belt there. Which I get why it's there. It's to allow for the extra range down here, which is nice, and that does give him a lot of the motion that you get in the torso. But the belt is a huge nuisance. Because once it's up here, obviously it's fine, you get all that range, but when you drop it down to where it's supposed to be to hide things, and it does hide things well enough, you wouldn't notice at first, and you won't notice it once you get it posed and finagle with it, so it's not like the end of the world, but it does become a problem when it starts to tuck into his butt plate. And you can see mine has actually been tucked in. It was tucked in like that when I got out of the package, and so it's warped a little bit, but it loves to slip down in there and tuck underneath this butt plate right here, and that's super frustrating when you're posing it and you're fighting with the belt. And the belt is semi-flexible, of course, but it doesn't have any real stretch, so moving it around is kind of a pain in the butt, no pun intended. Now the legs move around nicely, but when the belt is getting wedged in there, it can be quite frustrating, quite annoying. So hopefully at some point, I mean, maybe they're not going to do this design ever again, but doing belts like this, I get where they're going. I think they could probably come up with a little bit more of a finessed way to do that doesn't have the annoying belt in the way. But let's put the belt where it belongs and move the legs around and see what kind of posability we get. The legs work more or less like a figure arts figure. So that's about the maximum range going out to the side. It's not the greatest splits, but it's enough, especially for, like I said, like a realistic Christian Bale Batman. That's plenty. You're not going to need more than that. And then going forward, it's fine. The belt lifts up, but you can see it starts to twist when you do that. See the belt's twisting, and then it does like to tuck under. So it's not a huge deal, but it can be frustrating as you're handling it. Bring the legs back, you don't really get any range because the butt plate gets in the way. And you're just going to have to continually fight with that belt. Not fight with it, but readjust the belt to hide the gaps and to not tuck into the butt plate. Thigh swivel is a thigh swivel. Double jointed knee is a double jointed knee. Works nicely, looks good. It's one of the best looking knees we've looked at in a long time of this variety, so that's good. I will say the knee joints are quite loose on mine, especially this one. It's not like floppy or anything, but it is an issue. So a little bit tighter would be good. Boot swivel is in there. This one's stuck. This one rotates freely. I shouldn't say stuck, it's tight. This one rotates nicely. And then we have the ankles, which actually work quite well. You have to pop them over the boot, but they go back pretty far, and then you go over the boot again. They go forward pretty far, and then you get your ankle rocker because it's just a ball hinge, so that's good. But here's the other thing. The ball hinge is a little bit loose, so don't love that. But here's the last thing. This thing and the hip thing are really the two things that got me. And again, this is a really high value figure for the price point. So I'm not in any way saying these things are deal breakers, but these are things that need to be improved if you ask me, and they don't change the cost. Well, this one could, I guess, potentially, but this one doesn't. The toe hinge is very loose. I mean, relatively speaking, not like it's floppy, but it doesn't hold the weight of the figure. It is sculpted well. Let me get in tighter. It's sculpted well because when you move it, there's no like big gaps other than the treads for the boot, so that's fine, but it's too far back on the foot. The hinge is before the ball of the foot, so the weight of the figure is going to be pressed onto this part, which makes him very unstable. That's a problem. Toe hinges have to take place at least at the ball of the foot so that the weight is not going on a part that can move. If he's leaning forward at all, this toe is just going to flop and he's going to take a shelf dive. So you have to be aware of that. Otherwise, it's a decent toe hinge. It's just too far back and it could be a little bit tighter. But you need to have, for practicality, for functionality, the toe hinge has to be at least at where the pressure goes, which is right here. And as you can see, they're back. So as soon as you put weight on it, it's going to bend. So that's a problem. So, articulation on this guy, he's not the most posable figure in the world. He does look incredible for the price point, and I think the posability is more than reasonable for the price point. And there's lots of joints and things. So I'm still going to go 8 out of 10. It's really good. But having loose joints in the lower legs and in the ankles, and then having the toe hinge, that's a problem. An unstable figure is an annoying figure to handle to some extent, so be aware of that. This part here is more of just a nuisance. It's not going to be a big deal. This side keeps tucking in. And maybe that's just because it was wedged in there in the package. I don't know. This side doesn't seem to do it as much. So, yeah, it poses really well for the price point. It just could have better range and better tolerances and things like that. But okay, time for the final verdict on this guy. It is one of my favorite figures that I've reviewed this year so far, which is early in the year, but still, it is the kind of thing that I love. I want this company to make as many things as they can possibly get their hands on. I know they're doing some game stuff. Hopefully I can review that too, but this is exactly what I want. I want a collectible that looks like a freaking collectible at a reasonable price. I don't know how they're doing it, frankly. Because to me, it seems like you're getting a whole lot more for your money than seems reasonable, which is great for the consumer. I love to have this problem, guys. This is the kind of problem I want to have. I don't know. Maybe they're just accepting minimal profits, which is fine. Like if it's a private company, which I'm sure it is. I don't know exactly how that works where they are, but whatever they're doing, it's giving us a really good product at a really reasonable price. I'm thrilled with this. Like I said at the beginning, having things that have room for improvement or whatever is not at all a knock on the company. Nobody starts off or even finishes perfect. It's impossible when budgets are involved. But those are the things I noticed that could make the figure either more fun to handle or just better or whatever. But boy, is this an excellent release, and I am thrilled. Like, I don't even love this version of Batman. I think I prefer the first suit more with the thick neck and everything, but this is a figure that's staying in my collection for sure. Until I get real hungry, then I'll probably sell it to pay for food if I ever get to that point. But otherwise, this guy's staying in my collection forever. Excellent release. One of the best value pieces I've had in my collection. Very, 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 very nicely done. So, yeah, I would definitely recommend it. I'm going to give it an overall rating of 9 out of 10. You could go higher just because of the value, but things like not having a wired cape do take away from it some. If you're going to do cloth, this is fine, but for somebody like Batman, I think a wire is a big deal. That would be really nice to be able to have the cape doing things. But the cape is a removable thing, by the way. I didn't really mention that. If you pop this off, you can take the cape off. Oh man, it went. Why does everything I pop off go flying? I can never get a freaking review done without getting out of my chair. Okay, I didn't have to get out of my chair. You can pop that off. So if you don't want the cape, you can just take it off, and it still looks pretty good without it. Cape definitely looks better, but they could easily make an alternate cape that goes on here if they needed to, if they wanted to. If they're doing a different version or just more capes. Like their style of cape could definitely afford to have wire in it, so that'd be cool. But yeah, excellent release. I'm thrilled with it. I'm glad I'm glad I finally got the review sample. I'm glad they sent a review sample, and hopefully I've added some information to your brains about this figure. But if you're thinking about it, get it for sure. It's really good. It's not perfect, but it's damn close for the money. You're not going to be able to beat it very easily. So there it is, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, but that's it for me. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos just about every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.